Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. My name is Adelina and I make videos about living in my tiny house on wheels and living a more intentional life. I am so excited about today's video. I have a house tour for you. Today I'm going to introduce you to Nick and his kitty cat Taylor, and they live in their self-built tiny house on wheels named Larch. This house has so many amazing features. It has a beautiful kitchen, 2 lofts, a really nice sized living room, a big bathroom with a washer and a dryer in it, gorgeous outdoor space as well. Just so many features. It's just beautiful. I've been wanting to do this tour for you for ages. Nick actually came to see Serendipity. I think it was in 2019, it was a while ago now, and he and his parents came to visit, and his sister as well, to see the tiny house, to ask me some questions, which was awesome. And I got to see the plans in SketchUp before they even started building. The house is even more beautiful in person. I know you're going to love it. I'm going to put all of Nick's social media information down below. He has a TikTok that he's quite active on, Instagram, and he also just started a YouTube channel where he does videos about the tiny house, but also about his lifestyle because he's a rock climber, things like that. He'll talk about that, but I'm going to link that down below. Please go over and subscribe if you find it interesting. He is a lovely young man, and he reminds me a lot of my kids, especially my oldest son, Keaton. I'm just going to apologize in advance. At halfway through filming the tour, my audio decided to be very naughty, and I've done my very best to fix it in post, but I'm not an expert, so I've done the best I can. So I appreciate your patience and understanding with that, but I know you're going to love this video, so let me introduce you to Nick.
Hi, my name is Nick, and this is my tiny house. So we built this house a little over a year and a half ago, and I've been obsessed with tiny houses for the last few years. And I think I saw them the exact same way everyone else saw them, and that's on YouTube. There was one video, and I think it went super viral, and it was a New Zealand couple, and they built their own tiny house. It was, 5 months of construction. There was almost a year of design, which I think that's the biggest thing, is make sure your house is designed properly, because you can't go back on anything that you build. So we figured everything out right before building. And Google SketchUp was an amazing program to have. I had 3D models of this house before we ever swung a hammer, which was really cool because we could figure out what works, what doesn't work before actually investing or putting that process into action. I'm actually a rock climbing teacher. I work at a school. I work with kids all day, and my life is hectic at work. So coming back to a space that is mine, that is small, and that is cozy is really a good contrast between my work life and then my personal life. It's cozy, it's quiet, it's small, and it's so functional. And that's what I love about this house and tiny homes in general, is the creativity that you can put into them, and also just how functional it is. Like I said before, this is a DIY project, but it's not any DIY project. I had an incredible team helping me. So both my mom and dad have been in the construction industry for over 30 years. So my dad is a commercial contractor and my mom is a professional interior designer, and I was cheap labor. So it really was the dream team come together to finish a project like this. One of the trickiest things about building a tiny house is first the size, and you have to fit everything that a normal house would have into something that's 30 feet long and 8.5 feet wide. So figuring that out with that software ahead of time made the building process a lot easier. We built this over 4 months out at my parents' cabin where we have a full workshop. Now, my house is fully CSA certified, and that was a very big process. We had inspectors come out, they inspected the framing, they inspected the plumbing. They really inspected everything, which it's really hard to get a CSA certifier to come out for just a one-off DIY project. So building this through my parents' construction company was the easiest way to get that done. It's an expensive process, it's a lengthy process, but if you want to live in the city, that is what's required. The first tiny house I was ever in was the tiny house that you guys are used to seeing. And that was over a year ago, and it was kind of just a cold call to be, hey, I know you're the only one in the city that does this. What was your process like? And how can I do that for myself? So figuring out those and watching this YouTube channel has actually been a huge help to figure out the processes, to figure out the steps, and make it easy for everyone to say yes. If it's easy, they will say yes, and then you're golden, which that's how we got here, was getting that certification, getting our paperwork, getting letters from the city, making it easy for where you want to go to accept your house. This is my second parking location. So originally I lived in a pretty rural spot just outside of the city, but it was a very far drive to work. It was 45 minutes each way, and I was putting 100 kilometers on my car every single day. Now with the price of gas, the price of everything, that was just not feasible anymore. So we needed to find another solution. And originally, this was my number one parking spot, to be inside the city, but there just wasn't a spot for me. So it was a waiting game. I think the best part about living in a tiny house is it's mobile. I can take this wherever my life takes me. So if I'm going to the island, if I'm going to, up north, I can hook my house onto the truck and pull it down the highway. And it's fully legal to do that, which not many houses you can pull down the highway that is fully legal. It's super, super cool. So when we moved this house, we actually hired a professional mover. Now, we could pull it ourselves. It's fully legal, it's 13 feet high, it's 8.5 feet wide, and it's 30 feet long. So we didn't need any permits for it, but it is a big job, and I'm not, that good of a driver to pull a big house like this. So we did hire a professional mover that moves RVs, that moves, mobile homes. So that was a really good option, and it took the stress out of our hands, especially on a stressful day such as a move. The first move was a 300-kilometer move from British Columbia to my first parking spot just outside of the city. And the second move was a lot easier. It was only a 45-minute drive. The best part is we're on that west end of the city, so it was quick to get in, it was quick to park, and it only took a day. There's not many things you can move in a day, and I can move my house. Now, in my current parking spot, this is home. I love it here. Now, it is a mobile home park. It is a little bit different. A lot of people think that there's a big stigma around mobile home parks, but everyone I have met here is amazing. It is a very working class, people are honest, and it is truly a neighborhood feeling, which I didn't think I was gonna get before moving into a mobile home park, and I'm so glad I did. Now, living in a tiny house draws a ton of attention, and I think that's, it's a pro and a con to it. I'm pretty introverted, especially when I get home. It's actually hilarious to see how many people slow down for the 60 feet out in front of my house and they speed right back up, and everyone's head is looking at my house, which is great because that's getting the word out here that you can do this and it's possible, and it's not just a dream on the internet. Be like, hey, I love your house. How did you do this? What did you do? And I am more than welcome to share all of the information that I have because I want more of these in the city. I want more of these in general. This is the housing revolution. I think with the pricing of housing right now, especially in Alberta, it is insane how expensive houses are. $500, $600, $700, $2.3 million for a home. It makes no sense. And there's no way someone my age can afford something like that. And that's what I really wanted, was something small, but something that was comfortable, and I appreciate the nicer things. So having something that's high-end was nice. Building a house like this was way cheaper than renting something where I'm throwing my money away. I own my own house, and it is custom designed for my lifestyle. And I think that was the coolest thing about doing that DIY build, was every little thing was dialed in for my lifestyle and for my tastes. So finally, the golden question is, how much does one of these things cost? And it's not an easy answer because every house is different. Like I said, I built this house myself. So my costs are different than if you were to go to a professional to build. Kind of a rough cost, and think we built this right at the start of the pandemic when lumber prices were on the rise. It was crazy. If we were to go to a professional manufacturer to build this house, it would be somewhere in the 130 to 140 range. Now, we built it for less than that because it was DIY, but there was a lot of hurdles and it was kind of a headache to do that. There's insurance, there's liability, and you're carrying that all on the weight of yourself. So if this project flops, it's on you and not on that manufacturer who does it day and day. Getting this house in the city did require a CSA certification, and that was a very lengthy process and it was a very expensive process. I think it was close to $10,000 to get a little sticker to say that this house is certified and is safe. Now, it was worth it because you need to do that in order to get into a city or a municipality like this, but it was a process, flying people out from Vancouver to come check out my little tiny house in the middle of nowhere. But like I said, it is something that is required and it's an absolute necessity if you want to get your house in something like this. On the opposite side of the living room is my kitchen area. But part of the kitchen area that I really like is just how functional it is. Everything is small, but it's still usable in that sense that if I'm cooking for one person, it is more than adequate. So coffee is a super important part of my life. I love coffee. I've got my espresso machine, my soda stream, and everything that I need to make a great cup of coffee in the morning. One of the coolest things in my house, this is a Bosch speed oven. Now, in a tiny house, you don't have a lot of room. I still needed an oven, but I also wanted a microwave just for those convenient features. So this is an all-in-one unit. This does convection, it does microwave, and it also has a broiler in it. Underneath it, we've got some storage. I love cooking and baking. Where my espresso machine is actually the stair units. So this is a custom designed piece that we had to build in order to span my storage, but also get into either loft. It has everything in here, from my closets to storage to just some day-to-day, shelving units. So when we were designing this, I needed a spot for my turntable. So this is actually an all-in-one unit. I can just put a record on it. As we keep going through, this is actually where I eat most of my dinners, is I sit on my stairs and I can eat right here. Everything I need is on the other side of the hallway, which is just a reach away. In this kitchen, I needed a little bit of room. So we designed a lot of this house around having a good-sized kitchen. I've got a 2-burner electric stovetop with a vented hood fan. And if you know anything about living in a small space, moisture is your worst enemy. So having this vented fan that sucks all of that steam and moisture out of the house makes sure that mold is not a problem. I can fit everything I need. Now, you do need to be a little bit tall to live in this space because it is quite a reach. I'm 6'5". Everything in here works perfectly. So this is a Blanco sill granite sink. It is so durable and it looks awesome. Everything in here is either black, white, or blue. And this just contrasts so nice with my white walls. I needed storage for just my day-to-day cooking spices. So these are a magnetic spice jar system. I love these. They are expensive, but it is totally worth the money just because of how awesome it looks and just how versatile this is. This fridge is a full-size apartment-style fridge for 1, 2, even 3 people. This is more than enough space. I love using a wooden cutting board, especially when you're using quality kitchen knives. This won't dull your edges. So having that sit right behind is a great spot for a big clunky item like a cutting board. There's another few cutting boards up top, and of course, I need to have my drying pad. So I have 3 closets in this house, which not a lot of people have 3 closets in general, but in one of them, this is where kind of all of my shirts are. It's a really good size. 1, even 2 people could be in here. And then in the other one, this is where I have all of my pants. general storage down there. And then this one, I am a super outdoorsy person. I'm actually a rock climbing guide, so I need a spot for my outdoor gear. Another really cool thing about this storage unit is the kick-out step. There's also some really cool storage built into it. First aid kit, everything that you might need. Just this is your, storage drawer. So let's take a look upstairs in both of my lofts. So in the lofts, that's where my bedroom is, and I've also got a little spot for reading, a nice little quiet area. And Taylor, my kitty cat, absolutely loves it. So before we actually get into this loft, I do want to talk a little bit about this step. By having that extra step that's a little bit taller, especially in a spot with lower headroom, it allows you from going from a standing position right to a kneeling position. So this is my bedroom. Now, it isn't a super big space, but if it's a bedroom, I'm only sleeping up here, so I don't need a lot of space. So this is not my hangout area. Queen size mattress, and it's got more than enough room for me and the cat. Taylor also does have her own bed up here. She's got a little tent. The windows in here are super important. Having a lot of bright light make the space feel bigger than it is. So adding these windows everywhere makes it super bright and makes it feel actually a lot bigger than it is. These windows do open, which is nice in the summertime. You can get that nice summer breeze in here. It is a super cozy spot. And this chair is great if you want to read a book or you just want to hang out at night. The light up here is beautiful. It also is where a lot of my kind of bigger item storage is. And that big cushion there goes down on the couch and it adds a little bit more usability to that feature down there. I also have my hot water tank up here. So this is a tanked house. So instead of being that water on demand, I have an actual hot water tank. So there is no litter box in my house. Taylor is a toilet trained cat. So it took a little while to train the cat. Cats aren't super easy creatures to train, and we're still learning. So as soon as we get past this stage, we can take that litter away and the cat will use the toilet the exact same way that I am. Now, like I said, 6'5". It's hard for me to fit in any shower. This one fits perfectly, and my head doesn't hit anything. Best part is it's one of those rainfall showers where the water just comes down right on top. It's so soft. What a way to wake up. Finally, the last thing in my bathroom is my washer and dryer. Yes, you heard that right. I have both a washer and dryer in this house. Now, I've read a bunch of reviews, I've done some research, and some of those 2-in-1 units take a long time to do a load of laundry. And I just didn't have that time, especially if I need to wash outdoor equipment from a day guiding in the mountains. I needed something fast and something that works. So these Samsung units, which are apartment sized, fit awesome and they work great. Now, I live in Alberta where we get some crazy temperature fluctuations. In the summer, it'll be plus 30 degrees Celsius, and in the winter, it'll be more than minus 30 degrees Celsius, which is crazy. So figuring out a way to heat it efficiently in the winter, but cool it efficiently in the summer was a real challenge. We went all electric with this house. The heating in here is done with 3 ways. So I have in-floor heating, which actually heats a lot of my house most of the time, just radiantly. But on the walls, I have 3 NV wall heaters. I love these. They're super sleek, and you'd never know that it's a heater on a wall. In the bathroom, water is a big consideration, and water and electricity traditionally don't mix. So we didn't put an in-floor heating system in the bathroom. That was a big risk that we didn't want to take. So in this house, in my living room, I needed a kitchen table, but I didn't have a lot of room for just a standalone kitchen table. So we came up with a super clever foldable table that's hung on the wall with magnets, and it folds down onto the ground. And I'll show you how that works. Now I have a kitchen table, and the best part is when I'm done with this, I can fold it back up onto the wall, and these magnets are super strong, so I don't worry about it tipping down and hitting the ground. It is a little bit of a process to fold it up because it is kind of heavy. Good thing I'm a young kid, I can lift this up nice and easy. And now we've got a ton of room in the living room. One of the coolest things about the actual whole spot that I'm in is the outside deck area. So I have actually more square footage outside than I do inside. And that says a lot about my lifestyle. I love being outside. I'm a very outdoorsy person. So if I can sit outside, eat dinner, cook outside, I would be so happy to do that. When I lived in my rural spot originally, I just had this kind of area because it was a temporary spot, and always the idea was to move inner city with this home. Once we moved in, we built this awesome addition where if I have friends over or if I'm eating dinner outside, this is where I want to be. We have this nice little privacy screen, which just adds a little bit to the actual spot in that sense that I'm on a corner, there's cars driving by all the time. So just having a little bit of privacy was really important. In the summertime, it is awesome to be out here. I've got a little propane fire table, which adds so much ambiance and just a little bit of heat on those chillier nights with the, loungers, with the chairs. And then finally, you need to have a barbecue. So I've got mine right there. It is so awesome. So when we were designing this, having a big window in the front, especially in that living room to add some natural light, was a really, really key feature. And I really wanted to have something that looked like one of those industrial garage doors. So this is actually just a standard, patio slider with just some stick-on dividers in it to make it look like different panes of glass. It's actually one big pane of glass, which I didn't know until we put it in there. Now, orange is my favorite color, and having a bright orange door was what I wanted. I have a pair of shoes that matches my door perfectly, and it was not intentional. We painted the door and I checked and my shoes were the exact same color. Now in any house, you need to have storage, and there is a lot of storage inside my house for some of those items. But I also needed a spot for those oversized pieces for my cushions, just for something bigger, and to have a little workshop area. So in that shed, it is the perfect storage area. On the outside of my house, right above that front door, we have a little awning. That's to keep that water off of that door. It adds a little bit of shade to that door, but you do need to remove it when you're pulling it down the highway. With any house, having it properly skirted in was really important. So we actually used the same siding that we did with this on the bottom of the trailer to keep everything watertight, and it is insulated inside. With every house, the winter is problematic with freezing pipes, with freezing septic. So having something well insulated with this skirting was important. There's thick 2-inch foam behind that siding to make sure that the heat stays in, the moisture stays out, and everything runs throughout the wintertime. Like I said, this house is fully electric. There's no propane, there's no natural gas. So all I needed to do was hook it up with one big plug-in and my house works. So since it is electric, if I wanted to take this house off grid, which for my lifestyle, I don't really want to do that. I'm kind of a city person, but if I wanted to do that, I could just put solar panels on my house and I have nothing to worry about. Everything sets up super easy.
I'm angling this because I'm so much shorter. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It was such a pleasure to film this because when Nick and his parents came, was it 2 years ago?
Almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, to tour the Serendipity, and I saw the SketchUp plans and all of their ideas. I was super excited, and to finally get to see it done is incredible. This house is amazing. Every square inch has been utilized beautifully. The finishes are awesome, and it's even got a little tiny house cat. So Of course, I love it. So, Nick, tell us where the people can find you.
So I'm all over the internet too. I'm a young kid, so I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I've kind of grown a little bit of a following there, I guess. So if you want to know anything about, my house and kind of that short form, easy to digest content, TikTok is a great spot. I'm also starting a YouTube channel, but it's not just for tiny house content. It'll be kind of everything that I'm interested in. I'm a rock climber, I'm a teacher, so I do a lot of, educational videos on tiny homes, also on climbing, because I like being outside, and we live in the Rocky Mountains, which is a great spot to be. Thank you for coming over to my house. If you learned something, which I hope you learned something with every tiny house you watch, because there's always something new, something different. And if this is something you're interested in, why not subscribe down below?
Yes, exactly. Very good. And you know what, guys? If you have any questions, leave them down below. If you want to see more, like I say, of Nick's content, he's got TikTok, he does have Instagram, and he is starting that YouTube channel. And I, again, will put that all down below so that you guys can check him out too. Thanks for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.
See ya.